Welcome everyone to The Theorist and today's review, which is on Chapter 11 of Anime Kujo's Revelations. I realized after I recorded the Chapter 10 review that I didn't do anything to celebrate. You know, it's number 10, so that was my bad on my part, but I promise that for Chapter 15 I will do something special. And speaking of Chapter 10, it was brought to my attention that the two human sacrifices that I mentioned in the previous review actually did occur already. Of course, those were Elise and Jezebel. I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, I just like theorizing things, so I just kind of figured, oh, like, there's two new people that are going to be sacrificed. So I just kind of went forward and made my predictions on that. So I just wanted to point out that little flubber that I made. All is good now, though. So we'll go ahead and move on to the actual chapter that we're reviewing in this video, which is Chapter 11. So, of course, it kicks off with the Harvest Festival. We were eagerly awaiting this because it was the double date that was to take place between Ciel and Sebastian and Alois and Claude. And at one point during the Harvest Festival, Ciel notices Lizzie and Dagger from afar, and they seem to be hitting it off really well. So, that's awesome. I do like the pairing of Lizzie-Dagger. Never crossed my mind. It's kind of like Spears-Ciel. Never crossed my mind, but, you know, I dig it. It's really cool. Definitely different from any fanfics I've seen, or, well, not that you can see fanfics, that I've read. But anyway, the double date idea doesn't work out so well because Ciel and Claude still have tensions between themselves. And at one point, Alois goes off to do something, probably play a game, or I don't know. Sebastian goes off to get food for them. And so it's just Claude and Ciel at this, like, bench waiting for Alois and Sebastian to come back and, you know, feast on dinner. So basically, Claude gets Ciel alone. Not in that sense. You know, they're just kind of sitting there, and at one point, Ciel feels Claude's eyes on him just kind of lingering too long. So Ciel eventually feels like he's an animal being studied by, you know, this creep of a guy that he doesn't trust. So eventually, Ciel lashes out and says, "Why don't you take a picture? It will last longer," he muttered finally, shooting the man a dark glare. Claude hummed at the suggestion, the action only making Ciel even more irritated. "Care to tell me what's on your mind?" he growled. So yeah, Ciel, I would definitely love to snap a picture of you. But, that's beside the point. So, eventually, Ciel gets so fed up with Claude because Claude's just all like, oh, like, how do you even plan on keeping Sebastian around you for so long if you're not giving it to him? So, Ciel is then convinced to drink the apple pie moonshine. Of course, the steel container that contained the moonshine was brought up earlier in the story, and of course now the true meaning behind it is coming out now. Because when we first read about it, we found out that Ciel was a lightweight, and alcohol doesn't sit well with him. So seeing this happen, it's like, oh, you know, something serious is gonna go down. So he's convinced by Claude to drink it up, most of it, and then Ciel suddenly says, oh, I'm gonna go get some fresh air, like, get away from you, I need to be alone. Eventually, Sebastian comes back, and comes to find out that Ciel had walked off. And so he knows that Claude had something to do with it. He questions Claude directly and is like, okay, where did he go? What direction did he go in? How long ago was it that he left? So, of course, Claude is getting a kick out of this distressed Sebastian. And, you know, it comes to light that that's basically what he had in mind as to messing with Sebastian. Of course, it had to do with Ciel, and I mean, that was kind of a given. Then, the scene jumps to Ciel being in, like, the middle of a forest, because he wasn't really thinking straight with the alcohol in his system, and, you know, he ends up lost. So, you know, he sees somebody, and was like, oh, okay, they're, like, lost like I am. We can kind of help each other out of here. But then a second figure comes out, and a third. And they're all identical looking. So they are obviously the triplets. And, you know, I really liked this scene with the triplets. and especially how they would complete each other's sentences. Here are a few examples. So the first one would be like, we have a reason, then the second would say, yes, an order, and the third one would say, and we follow our orders. And then there's another time when they said, first one, not people, second one, not mug, the third one, just one. I thought it was really clever the way that Anime Kujo worked that out. Like, I could really picture that scene actually happening. It was that well written, and I loved it. Of course, the action scene that followed was pretty cool too. I know that Anime Kujo asked for feedback on that. So I thought it was well written, but I kind of expected more description of the fight, but I guess it was kind of hard to put that in there because we're kind of attached with Ciel, and so when he ran away, of course, we were drawn away from the fight. So I think it was a good start. And I see it as a tease for what will come later on in the story when, angels and demons fight against each other. So definitely something to look forward to. So later in the story, Ciel stops running, decides he doesn't want to go back into the festival, and instead chooses to run back to where Sebastian was. Kind of around when he gets there, the shoulder pain starts back up again. And, I'm just kind of thinking like, oh my gosh, like, is this it? Like, is he going to transform like right now, potentially kick some triplet butts? But no, it doesn't happen. Ciel prays for the pain to go away, and it does. And then I want to read to you the last little bit of the chapter. So here goes. Giving a sign of the cross, Ciel stood up and brushed off his knees. A noise from behind had his head jerking up, muscles tensing with adrenaline. Disregarding the terror that was creeping up, Ciel glanced over his shoulder, eyes growing wide at what he saw. So after I read that, I immediately thought about Sebastian. So there's two potential scenarios that I thought of. Either Sebastian is going to be all bloodied up and broken and in the process of healing, which is a supernatural thing. Ciel's going to be totally shocked. Or Ciel will witness Sebastian's demon form, which again is supernatural, not something that Ciel would expect. So I don't know what you guys think. I would definitely love to hear your thoughts on who it is or what it is that Ciel saw in that cliffhanger of chapter 11. It was beautiful. So I'm definitely excited for Friday to come like super fast because I want to know what it is that he saw. And then to end this review, I do want to read something that Anime Kujo wrote in her author's note, which I thought was amusing. So here goes. As for Alois having a flask of apple pie moonshine, yes, that really does exist, and yes, it really does taste like apple pie. You could buy it in liquor stores or do it the down and dirty way and find someone who makes it. I'm not condoning illegal activities, just letting you know your options. So, I thought Anime Kujo was adorable in wording it that way. But yeah, apple pie moonshine, that sounds good, and I'd be down to try it. So maybe for the chapter 15 review, I'll have like a little glass of that while I review, and you are more than welcome to join me. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll see you in the next review of Revelations chapter 12.